You thought a new country would give you a new personality. New city, new language, new people, new version of you. Clean slate, fresh start, different life. That's the fantasy. And it sells beautifully. Because it sounds like control. Like escape. Like finally becoming the person you always felt you should be. But here's the uncomfortable part no one puts in the Instagram captions. You didn't move on. You just moved. Same brain. Same habits. Same emotional patterns. Same fears, just in a different time zone. And at first it works. Of course it does. The first weeks feel like a movie. Everything is new. Your brain is flooded with dopamine. Streets feel cinematic. Coffee tastes better. Even loneliness feels romantic. You walk more. You notice things. You feel alive. You tell yourself, this is it. This is who I was meant to be. But that feeling isn't transformation. It's novelty. And novelty has an expiration date. Because eventually, the city stops being new. You stop looking up. You stop taking photos. You start checking your phone the same way you did back home. And then something subtle happens. Your real life catches up with you. Not the version you imagined. The one you brought with you. The overthinking. The avoidance. The need for validation. The same relationship patterns. The same anxiety in quiet moments. You didn't leave those behind. They were packed in your carry-on. People don't talk about this part because it ruins the fantasy. But changing your environment doesn't automatically change your identity. Why? Because identity isn't built from geography. It's built from repetition. From the same thoughts you think every day. The same decisions you default to. The same emotional reactions you never question. You can wake up in Paris, Bali, or Tokyo. But if your internal script hasn't changed, you're still running the same program. Different background. Same code. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Sometimes moving abroad makes things worse. Because now you've removed your distractions. No familiar routines. No old friends to buffer your emotions. No comfort systems to numb you. So what's left? You. Unfiltered. And a lot of people aren't ready for that. That's why the dream life abroad quietly turns into something else. Isolation. Identity confusion. A strange kind of emptiness you didn't expect. You thought you'd feel free. Instead, you feel untethered. There's also something else nobody warns you about. When you build your entire hope on this move will fix me, you create a dangerous psychological trap. Because if it doesn't work, it's not just disappointing. It feels like proof that something is wrong with you. I changed everything and I still feel the same. That hits harder than staying where you were. Because now you've removed your last excuse. Let's talk about expectations. People imagine that in a new country they'll suddenly become more confident, more social, more disciplined, more attractive, more interesting. Why? Because they confuse external change with internal permission. They think the environment will unlock something inside them. But confidence doesn't come from a new skyline. It comes from repeated uncomfortable actions. Social skills don't come from a different language. They come from risking awkwardness over and over again. Discipline doesn't magically appear because your apartment has a better view. If anything, it gets harder because now you're unstable, distracted, and out of routine. Here's the blunt truth. You don't become someone new by changing where you live. You become someone new by changing what you do consistently. And most people don't do that. They just hope the environment will do the work for them. And yet the idea is addictive. New life abroad. It sounds like reinvention. Like a personal reboot. Like pressing reset on all your mistakes. But life doesn't have a reset button. It has continuity. You carry your patterns forward unless you consciously interrupt them. There's a psychological concept behind this. Your brain is designed to maintain identity stability. It wants you to stay consistent with who you believe you are. So even in a completely new environment, you will unconsciously recreate familiar situations. Same type of friends, same type of relationships, same emotional cycles. Because it feels known, predictable, safe, even if it's dysfunctional. That's why people end up saying things like, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Different country, same story. Because the location changed, but the internal blueprint didn't. Now let's be fair. Moving abroad can absolutely change your life, but not in the way people think. It doesn't erase who you are. It exposes who you are. It removes noise. It strips away the familiar. It forces you to confront yourself without filters. And that can be powerful if you use it correctly. Because a new environment can support change, but it can't replace effort. It can give you opportunities, but it won't make you take them. It can remove old triggers, but your internal triggers will still exist. So the real question is, will a new country change me? It's, what version of me am I willing to build regardless of where I am? Because if you don't answer that, you'll keep chasing locations instead of growth. City after city, country after country, always thinking the next place will finally feel right. Until you realize something uncomfortable. It was never about the place. It was about the patterns. And here's the part most people avoid. Changing your patterns is harder than booking a flight. It's slower, less exciting, less aesthetic. No one claps for it. No one sees it. But that's where real change happens. In small, repeated, often boring decisions. Saying no when you usually say yes. Showing up when you usually avoid. Being honest when you usually perform. That's how identity shifts. Not through geography. Through behavior. So yes, move abroad. Explore. Change your environment. Experience new cultures. But don't lie to yourself. A new country is not a new personality. It's just a new stage. And you're still the same actor. Until you decide to play a different role. The problem isn't that starting a new life abroad is impossible. The problem is the expectation that it happens automatically. It doesn't. It never did. And it never will. So before you pack your bags hoping to escape yourself, ask a better question. What exactly am I trying to leave behind? And why do I think distance will solve it? Because if you can't answer that honestly, you're not starting a new life. You're just relocating the same one.